Hey guys, what's up? It's Kev for the win, and we're back for another edition of Monster Hunter Rise. Today we're taking a look at an Endgame Dual Blades. Fire and Ice is what we're going to use. Kaiser Crown X, Critical Eye, Critical Boost, Flinch Free, Speed Sharpening will be here. Archfiend Armor Baloo. Here we're going to use Weakness Exploit, Resentment, Chain Crit, Critical Boost, Blast Attack. Next up, Guardian Vam Braces. This will have Guard, Speed Sharpening, Earplugs, Critical Boost, Weakness Exploit. Next up, Archfiend Armor Ra. Weakness Exploit, Chain Crit, and Critical Element. Adachi Greaves X. This will give us Constitution, Critical Eye, Critical Element, Blast Attack, Stun Resistance. We're going to use an Absolute Petulance here. And we're going to use Fatal, Tempest Talisman. We're going to use Weakness Exploit level 2 with 2 slots. And here is the Teostra F weapon, so Fire and Ice Plus. This does have an upgraded version. I just haven't unlocked it yet. For the gems, Blast Jewel 2, Teostra Soul Jewel 2, Brace Jewel 1, Grinder Jewel 1, Grinder Jewel 1. Here, Critical Jewel 2, Blast Jewel 2. Here, Critical Jewel 2, Tenderizer Jewel 2, Grinder Jewel 1, Archfiend Armor Ra, Critical Element Jewel plus 4. Here, we want Blast Jewel 2, Steadfast Jewel 1, and 2 Steadfast Jewel 1s here. This is what your armor will look like in a full breakdown. You could use any dual blade element. Keep that in mind. I'm just using what I have. 305. Here you get 669 defense. The only thing you can't really take a hit from is a dragon or a water attack. So keep that in mind. Blast element has been boosted here. So we're going to have Critical Eye level 5, Weakness Exploit level 3, Speed Sharpening level 3, Critical Boost level 3, Critical Element level 3, Blast Attack level 3, Stun Resistance level 3, Chain Crit level 3, which is very important for dual blades. Resentment 1, Constitution 1, Guard 1, Earplugs 1, and Flinch Free level 1. Here you go. So we're going to increase the affinity, basically. Anytime we do hit a monster's weak spot, we get plus 50 infinity, which is going to be very important. Speed Sharpening, just so we can sharpen our blades quicker. We increase the damage of critical hits with Critical Boost. Critical Element is very important because whenever we use an elemental dual blade and we land critical hits, it will increase the amount of damage. Well, you can use any type of dual blades that you want on this particular build. Keep that in mind. Anything that's element will work just fine. Chain Crit level 3, continuously land gradual hits here. But like I was saying, with the dual blades, anything that you basically rock with, like let's say you're not using obviously Blast, which I wanted to boost in this particular build. Let's say you use an Ice dual blade, you'll just put Ice gems wherever the blasts are. Or if it's Thunder, Thunder gems, Fire gems, Water gems, etc, etc. Alright, for the purpose of this showcase, I am going to fight a Tetradon. It's a pretty good monster, keep in mind that although dual blades do a lot of hit, on average you're going to probably on small monsters do about 6-minute clear times, just because the dual blades are not super strong of an basically solo type of weapon. They're kind of a bit slower compared to something like the Greatsword, which does massive amounts of damage, or the Hunting Horn, or obviously for range weapons like the bow or the light bowgun. So it takes a little bit longer to get clear times on monsters, even with decked out gear, but it's not too big of a deal. On average, 6-minute clear times. So we should be able to do this in about 6 minutes if I do my damage effectively. So with the dual blades, the first thing that you're going to want to do is get some good positioning against the monster. I like to jump up in the air whenever I can, but here I'm not going to be able to do it. So we just start doing your basic combos that you would normally do, targeting all the monster sweet spots. Most monster sweet spots are generally the face area, sometimes the legs, and sometimes the arms. Generally, wherever you see yellow damage going off is pretty much where you want to hit. Now, the next thing that you need to do is obviously go into Archfiend Demon mode whenever you can. This will allow you to attack a little bit quicker, do a lot more damage, be able to dodge a little bit faster, and you're going to target, again, monsters' weak spots. The good thing about being in Archdemon mode is that you get a little bit faster of a dodge. However, the problem with it is that you will burn through your stamina quite a bit. Ways that you can mitigate it, I didn't bring any for this particular fight because I'm just demonstrating very casually how this weapon works, is you would probably want to bring some Mega Dash juices with you, so that way you have infinite stamina bar, or Demon Drug too, so that way you could just stay in your demon mode as much as possible. But those are things you're basically going to want to usually bring for a fight. Now keep in mind, one of the really good things about dual blades, I think particularly for Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, is that it is really good for fighting some of the harder monsters towards the late game. Those being Malzeno, because let's say you're trying to solo a Malzeno, ranged weapons have a harder time fighting it, as opposed to dual blades, where you're able to dodge out of a lot of attacks that would normally kill most weapon users just based on the fact that they don't have as much mobility. So if you're a fan of mobility and you're willing to sacrifice a wee little bit of power, then keep that in mind. Dual blades are also a really good weapon in the sense that because they can land a whole bunch of damage per second, they're really good at increasing status effects. So let's say you're using a paralyzed dual blade, or you're using case in here, point here, one of my dual blades is a blast, so I'm getting blast that's triggering off every so often. Or using poison dual blade, you can pretty much go to town on things and get a lot of statuses off. The only problem, obviously, when it also comes to dual blades is the fact that they're not a very group-friendly type of weapon due to the fact that a lot of the times you can't cancel certain animations. You have a tendency to trip our partners on your team, which can kind of frustrate people depending on the type of users. Dual blades basically work really good when you're pairing them up against pretty much any type of users that are using bows and range weapons, because you can just go and try to secure the status weapons, as opposed to when you're basically fighting with our blade masters. A lot of times you'll find yourself competing for the tail or the face against a great sword user or a long sword user, and either the long sword's going to trip you, knocking you out of your combos, or vice versa. What ends up happening is you end up knocking or tripping and stunning the partners that are longsword users. So it's a really good weapon though. It's pretty fun. You can even use certain skill bind effects so you can jump up in the air. I'm not going to do it really so much against this particular monster because it's better to be mostly grounded here as much as possible, just so we can secure hits. And as you can see here, we're getting a lot of critical hits off, and we have the mobility that we can kind of dance around. So the other thing is you just really got to keep an eye on your stamina. When you see that your stamina is low, what you're going to need to do is stop going into Archdemon mode. Unfortunately, there I made a mistake, and I actually just went into it when I was canceling out of it. The other issue, as you're going to see with dual blades, is the fact that since you're attacking in a ridiculous amount of consecutive hits, you have a tendency to burn through your sharpness really quickly. Now, one of the ways you could mitigate this, but you would have to take away either from the blast for this particular thing or element, is that you could actually on here gem in either a handcraft, or you could do alternatively razor sharp. That way you get a little bit more sharpness. I don't think it's really that big of a deal, which is why I use grinder, because you can just resharpen your weapons pretty quickly, as opposed to dedicating a whole bunch of slots to just having your weapon sharpness decrease slower. I just feel like why waste some of your good 2 and 3 slot gem areas in your armor for something that is a little bit less important, really, because it's not like you're getting a damage boost. So you could just sharpen your weapon a little bit quicker and just be able to get more skills on there that way, which is why I went that route. Alright, we secured another knockdown here. Let's go into Archdemon mode. And keep in mind with Archdemon mode, you always want to kind of keep it in the red, because that's the strongest attacks. You could do the string and the combos. You get a lot of hits off. Case in point, look at how many parts we've been able to break thanks to the armor and everything of the sort. Let me not go into Archdemon mode yet. I'm trying to get a little bit of positioning here again. Alright, let's attack here. Again, you're always targeting the face. As you can see, the monster's icon is blue now. That means that the monster is almost able to be caught here. So we're going to continue to do our combos. We're going to be careful here. Let's dodge out of the way, because I think he's going to clap, which he does. Alright, let's target here again. Alright, so the monster's fighting it. Okay. I wonder if these two are going to initiate a full turf war where we can actually ride on one of the monsters mounted. If not, what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of interfere and be the monkey in the middle here, so to speak. So that way we can try to secure VK on the Tetradon. I don't want to waste a whole bunch of time here. Wow. That Royal Ludolf does not like Tetradon at all. Okay, let's continue to wail here if we can. I'm going to continue to Dragon Dance here. Alright. Let me try to get out of the way here because they're still fighting each other. Okay, and we secured the kill there. Alright, quest complete. So that's basically the Dual Blade endgame guide that I have created for you guys. Like I said, you can use any type of elemental Dual Blade. It's very easy to use. You can swap out any type of Dual Blade. The only thing is, like, obviously, with this build, I'm using Blast. Take out the Blast gems and put in whatever element it is. So if you're using water, water gems. Ice, ice gems. Fire, fire gems. Thunder, thunder gems. But any of the Dual Blades that you use that are the endgame ones will work perfectly with this build. So it's basically an elemental build, but it has enough leeway so that when you want to use Blast or you want to use Poison, you can actually use it in this build, and you won't actually take away from a whole bunch of other things. Keep in mind, let's say you just don't want to even increase the blast, you could put in 2 more critical eyes here and max out the critical eye. There's a lot of leeway that I gave you for this particular build, which is what I think is very, very important. As always, this is just a recommendation, a suggestion. There are various different ways you can play dual blades. Feel free to share your own builds and formulas in the comments. The only thing I ask is that you do so in a constructive manner. Constructive feedback is very much appreciated. Any other type of feedback that's negative, obviously I'm just going to ignore it or delete it or everything of the sort. So let's see what the clear time is. It's probably going to be on average 6 minutes with dual blades because they don't do faster than that. Okay, 6 minutes, 10 seconds, almost even a 5-minute clear time there. All right, so that's going to do it for today's video. As always, a like on this video is greatly appreciated. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, definitely consider doing so as it helps the channel grow. And I'll see you for the next Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak video, which is probably Heavy Bowgun. Till next time, guys.